Dear friends, today we are going to discuss the topic bioassay of ethylene and abscisic acid. The main objectives of the present lecture are: number 1, to learn about the concept of bioassay; number 2, to gain an insight about the principle on which bioassay works; number 3, to know about the advantages and disadvantages of bioassay; number 4, to gain the knowledge about the bioassay of ethylene; and number 5, to know about the bioassay of abscisic acid. Now let's have a brief introduction about the topic. Biological assays are methods for the estimation of nature, constitution or potency of a material by means of the reaction that follows its application to living matter. Bioassay is defined as the estimation or determination of concentration or potency of physical, chemical or biological agents by means of measuring and comparing the magnitude of response of the test with that of standard over a suitable biological system under standard set of conditions. An assay is a form of biological experiment, but the interest lies in comparing the potencies of treatments on an agreed scale instead of in comparing the magnitude of effects of different treatments. Biological assays or biological standardization or simply bioassays are methods used for estimation of the potency of substances by observing their effects on living organisms. For example, pharmacological effects on animals, in vivo conditions or isolated tissues in vitro conditions. And comparing the effect of these substances of unknown potency to the effect of standard. In this analysis, the response produced by the test compound is compared with that of standard sample the way similar to other analytical methods. But here the biological system is involved in the determination. Bioassay is assessment of a biological substance. It is essential in the development of new drugs and plant growth regulators and in monitoring environmental pollutants. The typical bioassay involves a stimulus applied to a subject. Application of stimulus is followed by a change in some measurable characteristics of the subject, the magnitude of the change being depend upon the dose. The intensity of the stimulus is varied by using various doses by the analyst. Now, the principle on which the bioassay works. Bioassay involves the comparison of the mean response of unknown preparation with that of standard. The method selected should be reliable, sensitive and reproducible, and should minimize errors due to biological variation and methodology. The degree of response produced should be reproducible under identical set of conditions. The reference standard and the test sample should have same effects and mode of action, so that their potency ratio can be calculated or compared. The activity assayed should be activity of interest. Individual variations must be minimized or accounted for that. The test solution and the standard should be compared for their established effect using specific techniques. Prior to the development of sensitive, precise and accurate chemical and physical assays for the presence of concentration of plant growth regulators, we had to rely on bioassays. Now, what are the main advantages of bioassays? Sensitivity of the tissue is determined by plotting of a concentrate response curve. They not only help to determine the concentration but also the potency of sample. It is especially used to standardize drugs, vaccines, toxins or poisons, disinfectants, antiseptics, PGRs, etc. As these are all used over biological systems in some or other form. These also help to determine the specificity of compound to be used. The concept and the principles of bioassay can be very useful when performing structural activity relationships. Studies as part of drug or PGR invention process when we wish to compare the relative potency and functional effects of different compounds on intact tissue systems. Dose can be plotted even if it varies over 1000-fold range. Sometimes the chemical composition of samples is different, but the same biological activity and for samples where no other method of assay are available. Error is normally distributed. Improvements in chemistry and biochemistry have increased the precision and accuracy of all physical methods for the measurement of presence and concentration of active substances, and so have made many biological response bioassays redundant. Now, the disadvantages of bioassay. Sensitivity of the tissue changes with respect to time. Dosage timing may vary in mode of application of the test substance, or it is less accurate, more time consuming and troublesome. The exact match of the response may not be available. Quantitative difference between standard and test may not be obtained, and there are biological variations. The use of bioassays, however, has declined with the development of highly sensitive physical techniques that allow precise identification and quantification of specific PGRs from small amount of tissues. Now, bioassay of ethylene. It is done on the principle of triple response, which includes three characteristic effects of ethylene on etiolated seedlings of pea. These include swelling of nodes, inhibition of elongation of internodes of stem, and induction of horizontal growth of stem against gravity. The evolution of ethylene from plant tissues can be detected by certain biological tests. Those most frequently used have been the triple response of etiolated legume seedlings and the epinestic response of tomato and potato leaves. Now, the triple response of etiolated legume seedlings. When intact etiolated pea seedlings are exposed to low concentration of ethylene, the epicotyles show increased growth in thickness and reduced rate of longitudinal growth. Number third, increased horizontal growth. This so-called triple response of the seedlings varies with the concentration of ethylene, giving well-defined quantitative and qualitative responses, and has been used by Rohrbach and Pratt and Bale for the measurement of small concentrations of ethylene. Dishes containing about 30 etiolated pea seedlings about 4 cm high are exposed to ethylene or test samples, as described below in the next section, that is the epinestic response of tomato petioles. For epinesty tests with tomato plants, the duration of the test is 2 to 4 days when the plants are removed and photographed. Then measurement of horizontal growth, increased thickness and reduced longitudinal growth is taken into account. A series of plants treated with known concentration of ethylene under similar conditions are prepared and photographed by comparison with unknown estimate of the ethylene concentration is obtained. The preparation of the standard set of peas requires a number of ethylene air mixtures containing known concentration of ethylene, covering the range between 0.05 to 10 parts per million. Now, the sensitivity of the test. The minimum concentration required to produce response is 0.05 parts per million. The maximum response is obtained at 5 to 10 parts per million. Now, the epinestic response of tomato petioles. Epinesty is a perplexing behavior seen during flooding of roots of plants. Leaf epinesty involves the downward bending of leaves as a result of disturbances in their growth pattern, with a greater expansion in the adaxial cells as compared to abaxial surface cells. Leaf cells on the top part of the leaf and maybe especially the leaf stem outgrowth, the bottom ones, and the leaf drops from the horizontal to more vertical position. 200 different plant species have been tested by Crocker and Zimmerman and Hitchcock in 1932 with low concentrations of ethylene. These authors recommend that tomato plants as the most suitable test plants for the epinestic responses of petioles, being extremely delicate test for presence of ethylene. Certain precautions are necessary during the experimentation. Young, vigorously growing plants should be used since they are more sensitive and give quicker response. The upper sides of the petioles should form acute angles with the stem. The test should be made at a temperature of 15 degree or higher to permit growth and should be terminated after 1 or 2 days. Control plants should be run in air known to be free from ethylene. The test is usually carried out in one of the 3 ways. The tomato plant and the tissue to be tested are placed in a closed vessel such as bell jar. Alternatively, the plant tissue is placed in a closed vessel from which samples of gas are withdrawn injected into another vessel containing tomato plant, or the two vessels are joined together and the plant volatile displaced into contact with tomato plant by passing a stream of air. Then epinestic responses are measured. A concentration of 0.1 parts per million ethylene gives a positive response, while other gases or volatile substances are known to cause similar responses as ethylene. Nevertheless, a positive result obtained by either of the above tests is a strong indication of presence of ethylene. Among a very large number of gases and volatile substances investigated by Crocker et al. 1932, Nelson and Harvey, and Denny, the following were found to cause epinesty of tomato and potato petioles. These gases, that is carbon monoxide, acetylene, propylene, butylene, amylene, ethyl bromide, ethyl iodide, propyl chloride, acetonitrile, methyl oxide, and vinyl acetate. Some plant seedlings produce volatile products which kill the test plant. These products are not absorbed by the mercury reagent, whereas ethylene is hence. They can be eliminated and the specificity of the test improved by passing the air containing the plant volatile through a solution of mercuric nitrite in dilute nitric acid. The ethylene is released from testing by the addition of concentrated HCl. Since propylene, butylene, acetylene, and carbon monoxide are not absorbed by this reagent and so not released by HCl. Now the number third test on presence of ethylene is the p-stem swelling test. This test was performed Cherry in 1973 using pea seedlings to measure ethylene concentration by marked increase of stem swelling expressed as a ratio of weight to length. In 1 parts per million of ethylene, the ratio is about 4. Now we will discuss the bioassays of abscisic acid. As a matter of fact, the growth inhibitors act as chemical check upon plants, preventing the seeds from germinating and buds from opening under unfavorable conditions. For example, the sprouting of lateral buds during cold weather is inhibited by presence of growth inhibitors, for example, abscisic acid. Abscisic acid is produced within the plant body during the previous growing season. Abscisic acid accumulates in plant tissues in response to environmental stress and virus and bacterial infections. Several diverse bioassays are available for experimental studies of abscisic acid. These include, for example, inhibition of cucumber hypocotyl elongation, inhibition of alpha amylase synthesis in barley endosperm test, cytometal closure of mung bean hypocotyls, rice seedling growth inhibition test, acceleration of abscission in petiole explants. Now we will discuss inhibition of cucumber hypocotyl elongation test performed by Lin et al. In 1988. This test is a simple bioassay for abscisic acid using cucumber hypocotyls. The test is based on studying or measuring the inhibition of elongation of cucumber hypocotyls. The hypocotyls from the seedlings of different ages are excised in dim green safe light. 3 consecutive sections of hypocotyl at 5 mm intervals, that is 0 to 5, 5 to 10 and 10 to 15 millimeter below the cotyledons are excised. A group of 7 hypocotyl sections with 3 replicates are placed in a 50 ml flask containing 1 ml of test solution for each trial. The test solution consists of 2 millimolar sodium phosphate having pH 5.8, 40 millimolar KCl and the ABA standard to be acid. The bottles containing the test hypocotyls were placed in a shaker under darkness at 28 degrees Celsius and shaken at 10 rpm for conditioning. After 20 hours of incubation, the test samples were exposed to continuous rotation on a roller set at 1 rpm. The hypocotyl length was measured under a dissecting microscope with the aid of a micrometer after 24 hours of exposure to light. The results obtained during the experiment showed that the first 0 to 5 mm hypocotyl sections immediately below the cotyledon of 3-day-old seedlings has a greater capacity for elongation than those from 4 or 5-day-old seedlings. Hence, only the 0 to 5 mm hypocotyl sections of 3-day-old seedlings were used for the assay material. A standard curve ranging from 10 raised power minus 9 to 10 raised power minus 3 molar of ABA and GA3 respectively, as well as mixture of ABA and GA3, that is 0 molar, 10 raised power 6 molar and 10 raised power 4 molar was obtained based on inhibition of hypocotyl elongation. A standard curve based on the inhibition of Cucumber-Cotyledon greening system as reported by Fletcher et al. 1983, ranging from 10 raised power minus 9 molar to 10 raised power minus 3 molar of ABA was also obtained for comparison. A Doric incubation period of 20 hours was followed by exposure to light for 24 hours. Under these conditions, the inhibition of hypocotyl elongation is proportional to the abscisic acid applied. The minimum detectable level of abscisic acid was 10 raised power minus 9 molar and the range of linear response to abscisic acid was between 10 raised power minus 7 and 10 raised power minus 3 molar respectively. This assay is 10 times more sensitive than the Cucumber-Cotyledon greening bioassay for abscisic acid. Now the next section is the inhibition of alpha amylase synthesis in barley endosperm test. ABA inhibits the synthesis of alpha amylase in the aileron layers, which is triggered by gibberellins. Goldschmidt and Monselice in 1968 developed the bioassay method to estimate the ABA activity by determining the extent of inhibition of alpha amylase synthesis induced by treating the barley seeds endosperm with gibberellic acid. Now the cytometal closure of mung bean hypocotylize. Bioassays involving cytometal closure are not used frequently due to possible injury during preparation of isolated epidermal strips. Number 2, rhythmic variation in the cytometal aperture and need for accurate measurement of pore size can present some difficulties during the experimentation. However, a bioassay based on cytometal closure by ABA in excised mung bean hypocotylis was given in 1980 by Dhawan et al. Reduced water uptake by excised mung bean hypocotylis was found to provide a direct quantitative bioassay for the anti-transparent activity of ABA. Seeds of mung bean Vigna radiata were soaked for 3 hours in tap water and sown 2 cm deep in pots containing perlite. Seedlings were raised under glasshouse conditions with high humidity and day temperature of 27 to 32 degrees Celsius. However, night temperature of 18 to 25 degrees Celsius was maintained. Doricness was imported to enhance hypocotyl elongation, followed by normal light during last days of experiment. Under these conditions, 10-day-old seedlings had developed fully expanded primary leaves at first node, whereas the seedlings were excised 5 cm below the cotyledons. Subsequent operations were carried out in a growth cabinet at 25 degrees Celsius and 12-hour fluorescent light. The seedling cuttings were cultured in 3 ml narrow mouth glass vials filled with water and were protected from wilting under a plastic cover for 1 day. Cuttings were then transferred to a new set of glass vials which were completely filled with test solution. The uptake of water from each vial was recorded after 24 hours by refilling the vial back to the top edge of using a finitely ground hypodermic syringe. As the fresh weight of the cuttings was not markedly affected by treatment and the surface evaporation in such narrow mouth vials was uniform. The water uptake from the vials and water loss from the leaves was assumed to be equal. Total water loss by mung bean cuttings decreased linearly with increasing ABA concentration. The ABA concentration ranging from 10 raised power minus 8 to 10 raised power minus 3 molar. This linear inverse relationship was maintained at both 1 and 2 days. Direct measurement of water uptake by mung bean cuttings during a 1 or 2 day period thus provides a simple quantitative bioassay for anti-transparent activity of ABA over a concentration range between 10 raised to the power minus 8 to 10 raised to the power minus 3 molar. It can detect as little as 7.86 nanograms of abscisic acid in a 3 ml of test solution. With this, we will conclude our lecture, and thanks for watching.